To make a lab-grown diamond, you start with a tiny little bit of carbon. It's called a carbon seed. You put that into a microwave and then blast it with so much heat that the carbon atoms floating nearby start to stick onto the seed. Think about it like layering on coats of lacquer. And the little seed just gets bigger and bigger. When it's done, you have a diamond with the same chemical makeup as the real McCoy. Only this takes weeks instead of billions of years. They've been making diamonds like this since the 1950s. But it wasn't until 10 years ago that the technology really leveled up. The quality of the diamonds improved, demand started going up, and now, if you want a diamond, even a honkin' big J-Lo style rock, no problem.
With natural diamonds, you would rarely see a 3, 4, 5 carat because, that's a $100,000 diamond. That's not the sort of thing you would wear because it's so valuable. But now with the man-made diamonds, go to a wedding and everybody there has like 3, 4, 5 carat diamonds. So that's kind of the new, development. I think we're getting to the point where if you see a really big diamond, people just assume it's a lab-grown diamond.
Paul Zimnisky is an independent diamond analyst. He's had a front row seat to the rise of lab-grown diamonds. And it's been fast. Supply, he says, has basically doubled every 2 years since 2015.
So we went from maybe just a couple million rough carats, if that, 10 years ago to, over 30 million rough carats today. Theoretically, we can produce, as many as we want in the size, the color, the clarities that we want.
Lab-grown diamonds now make up nearly 40% of total diamond sales. You can get a lab-grown diamond of the same size and quality as a natural stone for 1/10 the price. And you can buy it at Walmart. So, could this be the beginning of the end for natural diamonds? Paul Zimnisky says, maybe. But he also says, don't count out the diamond industry.
The major players have done a very good job of maintaining desire for its product. The diamond industry is famous for having one of the most successful marketing campaigns in modern consumer history. And that's not a coincidence. That success has kept diamonds extremely relevant.
De Beers? It was founded in the 19th century. That's when a rush of production from new mines threatened to tank prices. So De Beers took control of the diamond trade, making sure supply matched demand. Its marketing campaign, as Paul said, is the stuff of legend. It shaped how we think about diamonds, basically invented the idea of a diamond engagement ring. Romance, marriage, eternal love. De Beers wanted all of that wrapped up in diamonds.
The diamond engagement ring. How else could 2 months' salary last forever? A diamond.
They covered the rich and famous in rocks to make us covet them. Marilyn Monroe in a hot pink dress singing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend.
Cartier.
That was OG silver screen product placement. The decades spent manufacturing desire for diamonds worked. But with a catch. For us to value them the way the industry wants us to, we need to believe they're precious.
We're sort of wired to really, really rivet our attention to things that become scarce.
Rebecca Ratner is a marketing professor at the University of Maryland. She says diamonds trade on our primitive instinct to own rare things.
Evolutionary psychologists will tell you that it relates to sort of a time when we needed to be really attuned to scarcity. If you have enough food or resources to sort of survive, on the savannah, then that's fine. But if suddenly you realize the supply of food has started to go down, then you really need to pay attention to where you're going to get your next meal because your survival depends on it.
So the diamond industry is tapping into instincts that live deep inside our consumer hearts.
When people perceive items as scarce, they experience physiological arousal. So it's like exactly that sort of fight or flight that an evolutionary psychologist would talk about. And they've got the bling, right? They're beautiful, they're sparkly. So they have sort of some inherent appeal to them, I would say. And then when you add on to it that it's scarce, that makes it just super exciting to want to get your hands on it.
That's what's happening internally. We can also care about what other people think about us. And when we have something that feels exclusive, a Birkin bag or a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle bourbon, that can play into our desire for social status. In that way, diamonds have a lot in common with sneakerheads lining up around the block for a shot at a rare shoe drop.
The luxury industry very much is tapping into people's motivation to convey something positive about themselves to other people. And you can convey it very easily. If you've got that designer bag or the designer shirt, you can convey things to people who are, 20 feet away from you and they just see you walking.
If the allure of natural diamonds comes in part from their scarcity, will they mean the same thing when they're right next to an unlimited supply of lab-grown diamonds? Rebecca says the industry's next and maybe greatest trick will be to differentiate natural from lab-grown in the hearts and minds of consumers.
If the lab-grown ones are sold as lab-grown diamonds and they're not sold as sort of authentic from the earth diamonds, my guess is that they will not be valued as much by people. So we know that authenticity is really important to consumers. And so that's sort of the story of like, where did my ring come from? I think that's going to be really meaningful to a lot of consumers.